Bring it back, hoof it.
When I first met Lee, I thought he was a G.I. Joe.
2, push, push, push. 3, 4. You want a 6-pack like mine?
No.
Yeah, he has a go back, and so he should have a go back.
But you just pointing at your muscles.
Elijah's never had a coach or a trainer or anyone who could push him harder than he pushes himself. And I just thought Lee would maybe get close.
Come on, that's it. 1, back.
Well, I
2.
desperately want to get back to running and complete all the challenges I set myself before my accident.
We said, okay, it's time to tell you the type of accident that you had, and he was pretty blown away.
Just a freak accident with 2 beautiful people.
It's a crazy, sad, and surreal story. When he was 3, we used to call him Forrest because he ran everywhere that he went.
He'd always want to race me. Like he'd say, I'll race you to the car, Papa. And he'd race to the car, and I'll race you to the house.
The first sport that I really fell in love with was basketball.
I remember his very first game of basketball. He was so excited, he poured the water bottle over his head, which he'd seen so many people do in rugby league. We're like, no, you can't do that on a basketball court.
His focus changed. He no longer wanted to be in the NBA, but he wanted to represent Australia in marathon. We woke up, it was a Saturday, and we'd bought my nephew, who lived with us at the time, a jump for his birthday. Elijah said he didn't want to go to Little Athletics that morning. He wanted to come and watch Isaac jump. I said, why don't you jump, mate? And he said, oh, I don't know. And he ummed and ahed, and anyway, we convinced him to go up, and Robin was nervous, really nervous, and I remember saying to her, Robin, he's got more of a chance of getting knocked off his bike on the way to training than he has of having an accident. We were waving to Elijah as he came down.
I was screaming to him, he was screaming to me, giving the thumbs up. And then
Gust of wind.
It just happened.
Yeah, collapsed the parachute. And
yep.
There wasn't time for Tony to correct it, and they slammed into the ground. The first thing I was thinking was, oh God, Elijah's not going to be able to run next week. And when I got out there, I realised that was the least of our worries. I had to stay with Elijah and just shout for him to keep responding.
And I just remember chanting out the window, you know, just do what you do, just be strong.
I was setting up the Christmas tree, and my son was sitting on the lounge watching TV, and we had this knock at the door, and I went, and it was some police officers, and something was said, your husband has been in an accident. Hang on a minute, this is not just telling me that he's had an accident and he's in the hospital. They told me that he had passed away. It's one of those movie scenes, and I did the big scream, the crumble on the floor, and all of a sudden there's police everywhere in my house. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm sitting on the floor, and I'm sobbing, and I'm hysterical. And then all of a sudden I just went, what about the person he was with?
multiple breaks to his jaw, fractured scapula, 9 broken ribs, multiple breaks, fractures in his pelvis, lacerated liver, lacerated kidney, fractured S1 and S2 spine, and base of skull fracture.
The first time I met them was at the funeral.
In some ways, I almost felt like all of that was our fault because we were strangers there, you know. But we met the family and we met all of Tony's, you know, army buddies, and they sat us at a table, and they said, you know, look, you guys are family now.
There was just something about him. Everybody loved him.
We have been told without a shadow of a doubt that as soon as the chaos happened, it was very evident that Tony turned his body to take the impact to save Elijah.
To know that he did that, not a surprise at all.
Pull your leg out. Pull it out. Pull it out, pull it out, pull it out. I remember that day that he first moved his left leg on command. I cried a lot. Yeah.
That was the last limb to move, and that was an indication that his brain still had a pathway to that leg.
Now look at Mama. Look at Mama.
And then slowly, over time, he just started doing more. You can do it, sweetheart.
Yes, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Oh. Really good.
Hey, hi, Mama.
Mr. Elijah Arranz, superstar.
Big step, that's it. You pull, recover, and then lift one.
So my sister shared this video on Facebook in Canada.
Andy, stand up straight. You gotta look up.
Some people think it's too fierce.
You're very hard on me.
How many times do I tell you? If it's just the emotional, mental block rather than a physical block, I won't accept it.
I said, you won't believe it, but that's filmed in Canberra.
I said to Robin immediately, I said, look, we need to find this trainer, this Lee Campbell fella. But it just kept eating away at me that I knew this fella and I didn't know why. And then I was at the gym one day and then it hit me. All of a sudden it hit me. I realised where I knew him from, and I rushed to my bag and pulled out my phone and went through my contact list, and there was his name and number. And I said, Robin, I've worked it out. You know Lee Campbell, the trainer? I've figured out how I know him. I said, I've met him. And I said, you've met him as well. We met him at Tony's funeral. He was one of Tony's best friends.
DJ. They turn up and, you know, one of my jobs in the military was helping with rehab and guys that had had similar accidents. Did you understand any of that?
I did say to Robin, don't let Lee give Elijah shit, knowing what Lee is like.
He and Elijah love each other. They've got a very similar sense of humour.
Roll, 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 roll. Elijah's come miles. Roll. That's it, roll.
Go, 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 go.
Go, push.
You can do it, you can do it.
Push it over. Over. Leaps and bounds that like you wouldn't believe. Bring him a bit higher. 9. Go for 5 more, EJ. 5 more. 1.
If you're not willing to put 110%, there's no point on you being there.
Good job.
He's always had these goals right from the time he could talk. It was to stand, to walk, to run. He then slowly added to race, and then he added to win, of course.
1 here, 1 there. You know, he will be able to retrain the brain. The neuroplasticity side is that the brain can change. You know, it can move around certain limitations to get to the end result.
By the time I'm 30, I would like to be able to run a marathon. I'm mainly looking for old sneakers. Nothing.
Except maybe nothing.
Oh, right. I like those.
When Elijah meets you, he'll look you in the eye, shake your hand, and then he'll immediately look at your feet. And he may not remember your name, but months later he'll know exactly what you were wearing on your feet.
I have between 60 and 70 pairs of shoes. These are out of control. These ones up here. And there were very limited number of pairs released, but I'm pretty confident these are fake. My dream is to own a vintage sneaker store.
We always hold our breath when we go through that tunnel and make a wish. And when we came out the other side, Elijah said something about wishing for more sneakers. And I went, you've just gone under that tunnel and wasted a wish. You didn't wish to maybe walk again? And he said, nah, Papa, he said, because that's going to happen.
Yeah. It'll be, you're right.
Just want Sam. Just want everyone to know that Tony didn't give his life away.
He had that choice, that 1 second that he had. That's why he's got a bravery award. That's the kind of human being that he was. You know, nothing's been in vain, ever. You know that.
I know.
You know that.
Tonight's the night. So Samantha's coming here to our house to meet Elijah for the first time.
Hi. How are you?
He'd like to give you a hug.
Oh, good. I would love to. Hi, darling.
Hi. Yeah, good, thanks.
It's hard for everybody.
Yep.
You know, I am. Sorry, I'm getting upset. I know not a day goes by that I don't think of you. I just want you to know. It's just hand in hand. I think about Tony, so I think about Elijah as well. The flip side of all of that was Tony wouldn't be able to have dealt with himself if anything had ever happened to you. Yeah, there's no way that I could ever let them leave my life. I think you've got as many sneakers as I have high heels, so.
And what did you say?
I already have a brain injury. What worse can happen?
Tell me about your parents.
Yeah, they're the real MVPs. Most valuable player.
Before the accident, we had a happy, cheeky son whose goals in life were to own a vintage sneaker store and to represent Australia at the Olympics. Post-accident, we've got the same fun-loving, cheeky son who still wants to own a vintage sneaker store and represent Australia at now the Paralympics and hopefully the Olympics.
Good job. Come on, come on, come on.
Tony, I will be working my hardest every day to make you proud.